And that's exactly it. And he doesn't have the ability to pick it on Boulder Bay, so it's yeah, it makes sense to be picking it on Arabia. I think that's probably the best map that you could ask for the French. But we are now heading into the game. Lidicor, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 in this best of 7 in between Probe and MarineLorD. On the right side, we will have MarineLorD playing as the Mongols in blue, and on the left side is Probe as the red French.
Yeah, so these players both coming from a StarCraft 2 background here, Lidicor. MarineLorD, obviously a very infamous StarCraft 2 professional, up there with the likes of, Serral and all of those other big players. Probe, on the other hand, the best player in Australia when it comes to StarCraft 2. And these two players did meet earlier in the month, going up against each other in Genesis. 2-1 was the final score between the two players, with MarineLorD just taking the victory over Probe. So looking forward to seeing what we've got here. Now, first game did go over to MarineLorD. Will the second game be tied up by Probe? That is the question.
Probe is coming out with 2 scouts over here, which is an approach that the Mista has used in EGC Genesis. He was the one going for double scouts and then just ferrying in deer later on. I actually like this because it helps you quite a bit. First of all, it prevents MarineLorD from sending out 2 scouts and killing one of your villagers on your gold. You can just pull your own scouts to defend. But the bigger thing is safety. You can just bring in the deer close to your TC and you don't have to move out, especially when your deer patches are this exposed.
Yeah, these are both double forward deers for both players. So at least it is quite even with that regard. But we do see MarineLorD already going to be opening up with a stable on his Uvu back at home. So we take a look there and we do see that he is already training double scouts, as you suspected or as you alluded to. So will we see some early aggression out from him? Will we see that potential outpost getting put down on the gold? We'll have to wait. We'll have to see. But I suspect even if we don't, MarineLorD should be okay. This matchup has typically been very Mongol favored over the last week or two, even though this is probably the best map you could ask for as French.
I agree. MarineLorD indeed out with 2 scouts, which will help him harass this gold mine. And the worst case scenario, if he cannot do damage, he can still ferry in deer, but there's 2 more scouts coming in. So part of
Now
the
we do see an outpost coming down. Well, I was just going to remark on the fact that we do see an outpost coming down. Now, I don't actually like the positioning of this outpost. In my opinion, I think this outpost needs to be up a little bit further, closer to the gold mine, because there's a bit of a window right here that can happen. So if we click on that outpost, you can see the radius that it's got, and or actually, we can't actually see the radius yet, but there's a small little area that can defend, or that can potentially attack this gold mine, and Probe is not going to be able to defend it himself. Now, he could just be using this thinking, all right, well, my enemy's open scouts, so just to avoid any sort of siege here, I'm just going to put up this outpost, and that is the potential. Sorry to interrupt you there, Lidicor.
Now, it looks like MarineLorD is not actively attacking his opponent over here, and even before the tower was started, he started moving to the north, so it very much seems like he's just looking for huntables to potentially pick up here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go for that professional scouts tech. You did mention both of these players could potentially do that. So we now see that MarineLorD is looking to head up to the next stage. Doesn't look like there's going to be any early aggression coming out from him other than those initial scouts. How many scouts did we get out? Was it just a 2x2 that he's gotten out?
He has a grand total of 5 right now, 2 down at the bottom, 3 on the north, so he has gotten 2 batches of 2 scouts.
Right, okay. So he's a very happy camper at this point in time. He's also got that Gur out as well to the south, and going to be collecting the gold. School of Cavalry now going to be going up for Probe as well. So no real surprises there. Probe not on stone at this point, as you would not expect. Deerstone's now going to be going up for MarineLorD as well, which is basically the stock standard landmark. I don't think you almost ever really see the silver tree, other than on maps like maybe French Pass is where you could expect to see it.
Exactly. Silver Tree is sort of your landmark for slow-paced maps, but any map that features some level of aggression, the Deerstones is much more viable. You see that he's very heavy on gold, still 4 villagers out there, so as you said, it's very likely we're grabbing the Professional Scouts upgrade over here.
Yeah, I really wouldn't be surprised. 4 villagers on gold is considered the standard when going for Professional Scouts, so yeah, I would expect him to open that one up and look to potentially deny some hunt from his opponent. Now, one of the things that we have been seeing French players do is open up with the School of Cavalry and actually go straight into um, just straight into scout production. So they get out that initial scout, but then also in addition to that, they build up their own scout numbers. And so that is something that we might see out of Probe here today. Now he is still quite heavy on gold, but keep in mind, has he dropped a mill? Have we got a mill yet for Probe? Not
But
yet. He's actually going out to stone though. Interesting.
yeah, that's a little bit surprising from him, especially given the fact that, as you said, there is no mill, but he's very heavy on gold still. So there are some things to discuss, as the scouts are definitely trying to harass this gold mine until there is no night coming out.
Yeah, and it's a little bit exposed towards the front. Obviously, that tower sitting a little bit further back than ideal, but now even more scouts going to be coming out for MarineLorD, so he's going to have a total of 6 scouts out now. We'll have to see whether he does get that 7th scout out just to make it nice and easy for him, but he's going to be hitting up to age 2 very shortly. He does have resources in the bank to be able to afford that all-important professional scouts upgrade, and just continuing harassing this gold mine and really forcing Probe to have a difficult time here.
Look at that, poor Benny the sheep getting stabbed down by that cruel knight. This is a crucial night here for Probe, because this might prevent MarineLorD from picking this deer patch up, and I believe that was the initial plan by MarineLorD.
Yeah, I think MarineLorD's going to be happy. If he can get one of his enemy hunts, I think he's going to be very happy and deny that from the French. Now, it's important to note that even though Probe is on stone, he hasn't actually dropped down a mill, so he's not going to be planning to get his own professional scout. So if he doesn't use this hunt, he is going to lose this hunt. Chivalry now going to be coming in for him as well after the double knight, so that's quite standard. And now we've got spears coming out to do a little bit of defense here as well.
Yeah, I think that at this point, Probe is in a bit of a trouble, but because, as you said, he's gonna have to pick this hunt up before his opponent does it. And once we get 2 or 3 more spearmen out and the hardened upgrade, they should be able to scare away the knights and pick up all the hunt here.
Yeah, it's important to note that there's going to be a pretty significant early mass here of spears as well, just because of, obviously, he's playing the Mongols. Mongols, they accrue their stone very, very quickly, and they can use it to make those additional spearmen, which is exactly what he is doing. Professional scouts now about to arrive in. Got another second or 2 on that one, and now going to be picking all of those ones up.
Movement speed arrow here for MarineLorD. He just wants to yoink all those carcasses and then run back home. This is not really a fight that Probe can take against the spearmen, plus the Khan.
Yeah, it's especially using the scouts to tank as well, because keep in mind those scouts, they are going to be healing back up. And a lot of spears now coming out for MarineLorD, so up to a total of, I think, 8 spears at this point. So he is going to be in a position where he could potentially look to isolate gold mines or just put on some more general pressure as the second town center gets placed down now from Probe. How do you feel about this second town center?
It could work, simply because MarineLorD isn't putting up a lot of pressure in the face of Probe. But it needs some time to pay off, because obviously the food eco at the beginning here for Probe is not amazing, whereas MarineLorD is going to have not only professional scouts, but survival techniques as well, so his food economy will be much, much better.
Yeah, he's going to be having an absolutely great time here. But speaking of great time, Spear's going to be fighting up against those knights. And if there's a civ that can deal effectively with these knights, it's got to be the Mongols. Just because they're able to get out this early mass of spears and really prevent any significant losses on those spears. Scouts now on the back line, trying to get a bit of extra information. Overextending a little bit, though.
It is a bit of an overextension indeed, and you see that the second patch of deer is already being ferried in by MarineLorD. Next up is this one, probably, now that Probe is not contesting it. A couple of archers moving out, though, for Probe could help scare away those spearmen.
Yeah, the difficult thing is, even, you know, with all of this army that Probe has got, is that he's still going to lose this hunt, because it's only a matter of time until those deers are exposed, and then MarineLorD sneaks in and he grabs a few. That's just the way it works. And so, you know, unless you actually wall your opponent out, which we have seen players do, so you can actually scare all the deer on top of each other and then just wall them. That is a great counter to professional scouts. But now MarineLorD going to have to be forced back here as he does try and pick up these deer. You can see just how much he really wants it, doesn't he? But he looks like he might be heading down to the secondary hunt for Probe instead.
I think Probe may have spotted those scouts, because He's definitely pursuing them, but as you said, it's all about just taking those down, picking it up. You can use the Khan's maneuver arrow to boost your speed as well, but a couple of scouts might go down here from MarineLorD.
Yeah, he's doing his best to actually deal with these and doing pretty effectively. Those spears are going to be coming in. They're going to force them out. And then the scouts are just simply going to head back around and go and pick up more deer to the north, to the south, wherever it is that he wants to go. It's going to be very difficult for him to actually deal with this. But undoubtedly, he's going to, if he doesn't spot it, he'll realize something is up. And the French player really needs to play around this, because behind this, MarineLorD is probably going to be thinking about going up to the next age as he drops down his step redoubt and is already on the way up now to the third age.
This is very difficult for Probe, because it's one thing that you have two town centers, but if you don't have the food economy to make them work, it's not going to work out. You see, he has pretty much all his villagers on berries, and that's it. Quite a lot of town center idle time as well. This is looking rough for him, because in Castle Age... Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think the difficult thing as well, you know, going up against the Mongols is just having this double unit production. This whole time he's at double unit production. And look at the force that he's got out. He's able to, you know, click up to the next age. He's got a huge military that's here. Like, how do you even deal with this, Lidakor? It's wild to me that he's got 11-minute castle times with this many military out on the field, with professional scouts as well. It's absolutely ludicrous how well he's able to put this civilization together.
Exactly. Obviously, survival techniques helps quite a lot, because his food eco is crazy, but we should soon see the improved siege engineers upgrade coming in for MarineLorD, so that he can make springholds on the battlefield, and he's already pushing up the deer stones as well, so he's gonna be able to siege this gold mine right at the beginning.
Yeah, he's having a pretty decent time here as well. MarineLorD definitely looking to have his number in this map, in this matchup as well. But those deer stones now going to be coming in. Got to be careful not to get his deer stones caught. We've seen deer stones get caught before. But definitely looks like the forces for Probe at this point are significantly outnumbered and out-teched as well. And that all comes in to having the second town center and not having the hunt. But now Probe going to be looking to siege down this tower towards the base of MarineLorD. There's only a single villager inside, so not a particularly delicious bounty, I would say. But nonetheless, it's better than nothing.
It is better than nothing, and that's exactly what Probe needs to do. Because MarineLorD's army is slow. He's got spearmen, archers, and that's it. He needs to use those knights with chivalry to raid and just sort of buy himself some time until he fixes his own eco.
Yeah, I think Probe has actually succeeded right here where he wanted to, and for him, that primarily was drawing back the army of MarineLorD. Now, obviously, he had double tower set up on his own front line. Look at all these villagers coming out right now. Surely these villagers aren't going on to gold. Oh my lord, that's going to be a lot of gold right there, Lidakor. Keep in mind, he's got the step readout there, which is going to be buffing up those villager drop-offs by 50%. I don't think he's got wheelbarrow yet. Are we able to check whether he's got wheelbarrow? No wheelbarrow just yet. So 15 gold there instead of 10. Pretty significant, though.
Siege engineering on the way for MarineLorD, though, so once again, Probe is gonna have to come back and raid, and he does it. This is perfect play here from Probe, given the situation.
Yeah, he needs to make sure that this gold mine is, you know, inactive as possible. It's going to be hard. Is Probe looking to get up himself to the third age? What have we got from him? Anything out here? We've got a couple villagers on hunts. How many villagers does he have at the moment? Are we able to check in on his villager count? Sitting on 55 villagers at the moment. Compare that over to MarineLorD, who's sitting on 45. So only a 10 villager advantage at the moment. Really not what you'd hope for, considering that you're playing French and went double TC quite early on.
Exactly, especially given the fact that your opponent is Castle Age and you are not. He's working towards Castle Age himself, and he's got a pretty sizable force of archers here. But there is going to be springolds, potentially mangonels, and rams already being prepared. And all of his gold mines here are quite exposed, so losing this is a disaster for him.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a safe gold mine. There's a couple down towards the south, but yeah, nothing super duper easy. But now look at that movement speed buff coming in as the spears run in at light speed, trying to get on top of those archers. The archers going to be pushing them back. No upgrades coming through for those guys just yet. Villagers going to be going down to those springolds on the front line as more of them get a few arrows to the knee. Knights coming in ever so slowly. Those outposts completely filled up with units inside them at the moment, as a third outpost now gets dropped down. Villagers going to jump inside them as well. But now it looks like MarineLorD is overwhelming Probe completely. He does have units inside these outposts, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough, Lytical.
There is 3 outposts filled with archers, though, and the spearmen are slowly going down, so once the spearmen are gone, the knights can take a decent fight against the archers, but as you said, this might just be a temporary hold here by Probe.
Yeah, he's doing relatively well, but the issue of these Springles, now he hasn't brought a villager forward to heal these up, so they are going to go down, or at least the first one is going to go down, but we do see that the Mongol player is able to continue picking up that raid bounty from doing all this damage to these buildings.
Indeed, and now we have no gold income for Probe. He's floating a lot of food and wood, but he just doesn't have the production to use that up. He's got 1 archer range to produce archers at, and he's just getting swarmed by the spearmen and archers, and now we see men-at-arms on the field, something that Probe has no answer to.
Yeah, once these men-at-arms come in, I think Probe's going to realize that good game gets called, and almost straight away he's like, wait, men-at-arms? I can't beat that. And that is the power of the fast castle for the Mongols. Those men-at-arms, once they come out, there is not much you can do against them.
Indeed, and the flexibility is always there. You can apply some Feudal Age pressure, you can even apply Dark Age pressure, but if your opponent is playing very defensive, playing multiple town centers, you can just use your scouts to leverage your map control, bring in the hunt, use that to get to Castle Age, and from that point on, you have a very efficient production, and of course the Step Redapt also helps quite a bit, boosting your eco.
Yeah, it's an incredibly strong landmark. This is another one of those S-tier landmarks, in my opinion. Step Redoubt, incredibly strong. Just that huge extra gold. It's basically like an Imperial official just on steroids. But there we see that villager count, despite being a town center ahead, Probe barely looking like it. You know, it just sort of looks like the French bonus, doesn't it? It doesn't really even look like there's a second town center in there.
He didn't really have the food to make both town centers work consistently. Like, most of his food eco was on berries. I feel like for this strategy to work, he needs professional scouts and he needs to bring in deer, because he's got no power to protect them, but he needs some sort of extra food. Berries is not gonna crack it, and farms is not something that you want to invest